All right, and we are back here on the GSMC Football Podcast. And for the final part of the show, we are going to talk about Kirk Cousins and the Atlanta Falcons. So it seems like Kirk Cousins is not going to play in the preseason. Kirk Cousins says, I want to play in the preseason, but Raheem Morris is saying, yeah, that's not going to happen. So this is what Kirk had to say. I want to play, but I think that ask fell on deaf's ears. Raheem's motto is, you're not playing, and I don't know if I'm letting the cat out of the bag or anything, but his approach was, that's just not how we want to do things. I'm sure maybe I can persuade him. Maybe there's a conversation. Who knows how the Dolphins' practices go. Maybe he wants to see us in the game. There is just so much that could change. Yeah, I think seeing live bullets and playing is helpful, but I also understand the logic behind not doing it. And everything we do is calculated, and that will be as well. And this comes after, Kirk Cousins was medically cleared 9 months after his torn Achilles tendon. He wants to play, of course, but Raheem Morris wants him to remain out until the regular season opener against the Steelers. And I talked about this the other day. I said that I think Aaron Rodgers should play because, it's been a while, and again, I'm not saying, play like a quarter or a half. I'm just saying play a drive. Play one drive, and that's it for the dress rehearsal. But Aaron Rodgers is, older than Kirk Cousins, dealing with the same injury, and I'm saying he should play, and Kirk Cousins is not playing. So, I mean, we don't really know. And the Jets haven't really commented on that. I don't know. I don't know one way or the other. But if Rodgers doesn't play, I mean, it is what it is. But, Raheem Morris, they're taking that approach. They want to be careful with Kirk because, listen, they paid him a lot of money, and they want to make sure he's ready to go for that season opener against the Steelers. So we're going to see Kirk Cousins against Russell Wilson. They're they're on their new teams, and we'll see how they match up. Yeah, I mean, I don't really have a problem with it. But, it's just those first, few weeks, the teams are going to be trying to get that rust off. Because, the first strings, they, are going to be rusty. They're not really going to play that much in the preseason. And that's, again, kind of one of the negatives of, getting rid of the preseason is, that does give the first strings, at least a taste of game action before, the real thing. And when you're getting rid of the preseason, before you know, the preseason's going to be gone entirely, and it's just, you're just practicing. You got OTAs, mini camp, training camp, and then you get right into it. There's no practice games before the real thing. So, and I know that some people would say that that's going to lead to some sloppy football. So, but, as fans, we don't really care. We're just like, hey, we want to get to the real thing as soon as possible. So, but yeah, I mean, I don't really have a problem with Kirk Cousins not playing in the preseason. Again, you would like to see them just so they could at least get a feel for the game, get back up to speed. So at least, you don't go into the regular season and say, yeah, the last time I played was, it was 9 months ago against Green Bay, in Lambeau, or however long ago it was. So, but I get it. I mean, Kirk is coming off of that major injury, and you don't want to risk anything. But the Falcons have a unique situation because they drafted Michael Penix. I really just didn't understand at that pick. Now, if they were towards the end of the first round, or, well, who knows if Penix would have been there, I guess it would have made a little more sense because we saw the Packers do it with Jordan Love. But you took him with the 8th overall pick when you could have addressed some other needs on the team. But more so because you gave Kirk Cousins a lot of money. to be your starting quarterback. You gave him a 4-year contract, and I think the guaranteed money was $100 million. You gave him all that money just to draft his replacement. And had he known that, he probably would have went somewhere else. He could have probably stayed in Minnesota. But that's just how it went. And I understand their thought process. They're thinking about the present and the future, but you know, you gotta help out your quarterback. You know, Michael Penix is not going to help out Kirk Cousins. They are never going to be on the field at the same time, unless they want to do like what the Eagles did with Carson Wentz and Jalen Hurts. Hurts is on the field, and I think they did some formations with Flacco and Lamar Jackson. You know, they're not going to be on the field at the same time, but they're not going to do that. They're never going to be on the field at the same time. Michael Penix is going to be learning under Kirk Cousins until he eventually takes over. They should have drafted an impact player. They didn't do that. Now, Michael Penix could turn out to be, their next franchise quarterback, and that's great. And then they won't receive that much criticism then. But for right now, that was probably not the right pick. At that point. But we'll see how it goes. I mean, I think right now for me, if Kirk Cousins is healthy, I think the Falcons are the best team in the division. But it's going to be a close race. I still think the Panthers are that distant fourth place team, which I've talked about many times. But I think it's going to be between them, the Saints, and the Bucs. It's going to be very close. I think I had the Falcons at like 10 wins. The Bucs and the Saints around 8-9 wins, but it's going to be very close. It's going to be very close. And that was what the Falcons were missing last year, was a quarterback, because Desmond Ridder was not the answer. Taylor Heineke's a backup quarterback. And now Desmond Ridder's with the Cardinals, in that Rondale Moore trade. The Falcons had better quarterback play, they'd be in the playoffs. They probably would have. They lost some close games last year. The game against Tampa at home. If Desmond Ridder doesn't throw, I think 3 picks against the Commanders, they probably win that. They lost to Kyler Murray in his first game back. Yeah, they were a frustrating team to watch. And Falcons fans are hoping that Kirk Cousins, if he's back to how he was before the injury against the Packers, he could take this offense to the next level. Because you got a pair of good running backs. You're hoping for bigger things out of Bijan Robinson in year 2. Drake London takes a big step forward. Kyle Pitts. I mean, how many times have people said they're waiting on Kyle Pitts? This could be the year. But only time will tell. And they open up against the Steelers, which is a winnable game. I think it's a winnable game for both teams. And then you go from there. But they probably play in one of the weaker divisions. So I think they have a very good chance of winning the division this year. And it's going to be because of Kirk Cousins. And look, Kirk Cousins is another guy that puts up great stats in the regular season. But I don't think he's really going to take the Falcons far if they make it. I think maybe you make it to the second round, but that's probably it. So, but let me know what you guys think, though. Do you think Kirk Cousins should play in the preseason just to get some, game action under his belt? Let me know in the comments. But, listen, we are less than a week away. I know I keep saying this, but that's because we're getting closer. We are less than a week away now from the first game of the year, Hall of Fame game, between the Bears and the Texans. Now, we're not getting the first strings playing against each other, which would be great. We're probably not going to see Caleb Williams. Well, we're definitely not going to see Caleb Williams. We're probably going to see Tyson Bagent against, Davis Mills. And listen, Bajan got some playing time last year, and Davis Mills has had his share of starts in the NFL. He was the starting quarterback at one point for the Texans, so we'll get to see them. Maybe we'll see Damian Pierce. Maybe the Texans actually also picked up Cam Akers as well. To add to that running back depth. So, yeah, I'm trying to think of who else we would see. I guess we'd see Roschon Johnson for the Bears on that side. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have an idea of who's going to be starting and who's not. We know, like, Diggs and Keenan Allen and DJ Moore and DeAndre Swift and Stroud and Caleb Williams. Like, they're all not playing. Like, you already know. But you know what? It's at least going to be a game. I've been waiting for this. It's been a long off season, and I just want to get to games. And that we are going to have a game every single week until February. So, and then on top of that, you got college football coming back at the end of August. So, then it's going to be an embarrassment of riches. We're going to have so much to talk about, which, it's been a long off season. So, I can't wait for that. But that's pretty much it for the show for today, guys. I appreciate you as always for tuning in. Make sure to check out all the other shows as well. Like I always say about that as well. But yeah, we are getting close. We're right there. We're right there. So, and then of course with all the other preseason games a week after that, it's that time of the year. I've already gone over with my friends what my draft order is going to be, and when we're going to be drafting between that and also our dynasty draft, the rookie draft we got to do. So that's coming up. Football season's back. We're back, and I kind of need it because I got to see how this team over here on my wall here, they've been very disappointing for a while, and I'm going to be going to the game next week for Eli Manning bobblehead day. So, hopefully, because the trade deadline for baseball, that's coming up. So make sure to tune in to Sam's show to get his thoughts on that. Hopefully they, make some tweaks and get some new players because they need it. Guys need to come back from injury. It's been frustrating to watch, and that's why I've been like, can we get to football season, please? I can't deal with this anymore. I can't watch this. And it's not even like you could watch any, basketball. You could watch the WNBA. But it's just there's really nothing on right now. So you're stuck watching this team, and it's just that's for a different time. But I appreciate you guys for tuning in, and that is all the time that we have for today. Make sure to tune in to the other shows, and so with that, I'm Kenneth Grunfelder, signing off from the GSMC Football Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. As my dog starts barking, have a good day, have a good weekend, and I will talk to you guys on Monday, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Take care.